Hello, hi, how are you? Happy, very chilly Monday morning, particularly chilly for me. I got home late last night from a week in Tucson, Arizona. I want to unpack this whole trip and share the thoughts and feelings, and I was thinking okay, what do I want to share from this trip? I'm always thinking, what did I receive from this? And I feel like because of the Sharecast, obviously I'm thinking what am I going to talk about this weekend? I'm just going to kind of start, and it might feel a little bit unorganized, but let's just get into it and go. So the reason that I went is because I'm doing this course. This is particularly for horses, and it's called the Masterson Method, and it basically is this it kind of has a little bit of everything, but it's essentially body work for horses and helping horses just really relax into their bodies and kind of flow nicer. So it's a lot of bodywork stuff. There's a lot of I was really drawn to it because there's a lot of elements of acupressure involved in it, and also the Masterson Method logo looks very similar to the Philosopher's Stone symbol. So that was kind of the reason I was drawn to it. I originally started the certification course a couple of years ago. I went to the 2-day clinic, and then I've kind of been puttering around with it ever since then. And then for my birthday, I was gifted the 5-day advanced course, which was so lovely, which is what I just went to. And it was just to be honest, I don't know if I would have done it had I not been gifted, but I'm so glad that I did do it, and I will continue on. So there's 2 more phases in the certification. I'm going to continue on and finish. But it was just the 5-day course was so lovely, and I kept saying to myself, I really love this course because it gives me a little bit of structure, which is such a weird thing for me to say because I do really like to flow. But I feel if we talk about the masculine and feminine, it's really lovely to flow within a structure. And that was something that I feel at this time in my life, I was really needing. I feel like I was really needing a little bit of structure. And it was just, yeah. So anyways, I was really excited. This whole week really for me ended up being working through the brace. And I don't know if non-horse people will quite understand it, so I'm going to take a minute to explain what brace means to me. I would say it's consistent with constriction, brace constriction. It's this tightening of a movement. This tightening that happens when there's an idea or a movement that you want to do or be a part of. That's what brace and constriction and tightness, that's what it means to me. And I went into it, and like I said before, I was really excited for the structure. But I have to say, for the first day, and even into a little bit of the second day of the clinic, I was very bracey. I was very bracey to the structure. And I was kind of am I bracey to the instructor? No, she's a lovely person. She's a great instructor. She was admittedly a little more scientific than me, but I think that's lovely. I think it's really lovely to have people around you who are all kinds of different people. I think it makes you a well-rounded person. And we all have the same idea. We're all working towards the same thing, and we're using our strengths to get there. And not everyone has to be flowy. And so I'm having these words in my brain, and I'm just okay, Jasmine, soften to the brace. Why are you bracing to this so much? This is a method you really believe in. This is a thing that you believe in. Why is it so bracey? And it was just, I feel when it comes to it, it was a brace of a structure. And I felt the confines of a structure kind of coming in around me. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing. But for me, it's just something that I haven't had really in a long time. And these confines of a structure were very interesting. Very interesting. And I feel like I'm going to be kind of unpacking that for a little bit. But that was a really big part of, I think, this whole weekend for me was this constantly feeling this bit of brace and then softening to it in my own self. And I think I do this all the time in my life. We all do this. We all have these little bracing moments. And I feel like it's really this journey to us feeling at peace with when we come up to a brace being like, oh, hi, there you are. I see you. It's not releasing the brace altogether. It's not saying I'm never going to brace to anything. It's just really finding this awareness of when the brace happens. And then what do you do with that? Do you soften and allow? Do you need to move on to something different? And that was kind of the conversation that was happening in my head, is like, wow, is this path really for me if I'm bracing this much to it? But once I really softened into the moment, I had a lovely time. I learned so much. I learned, and not only did I learn so much, but I also deepened the knowing of things that I already had. This like almost like the feeling of it like sinking into the second level, you know? And that's been happening for me a lot in a lot of ways for the last couple of months. And I think it's really attributed to the fact that I've spent this entire year with this word of observation, right? Like I really want to observe things. And this knowing, this like second level knowing has kind of come as a part of that. And it's just been really quite fascinating. So yeah, I go to this clinic. The first day, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so hard. Like, I am bracing. I am fighting this whole time. Like, the whole day I'm fighting it. And then in about a couple hours into day 2, I'm just like, oh, I feel this just surrender inside of me that just softens. And then I get to work on horses for a whole long time. I get to work. All the days were basically working on horses. So I got to work on lots and lots of different types of horses that also had lots and lots of different types of braces. And it was really beautiful to not only feel myself soften to the brace, but also realize how much not talking, how much just being and holding that boundary, holding that energy. So in Masterson method, it's very acupressure, right? So you're holding on a pressure point and you're just holding your hand there, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Like a lot of these horses, you can kind of actually be a little bit off the skin. And admittedly, this is a part that I'm like, okay, well, this is just a difference in your training and your feeling. But admittedly, I don't even think you really have to be right there. I think I believe in distance healing, and you can do a lot of this stuff distance. That's not necessarily the training I was going to for this weekend. This weekend was very focused on being right there, which is lovely. But you're holding your hand on a part of the body where you feel a brace happening. And there's lots of different ways you can feel the brace, but anyway, that's not important for this. So you're holding your hand on that brace, and you're just holding it. You're just holding it there. And then you feel the soften, and then you can kind of move your hand a little closer. And it's just really beautiful how that works. And I feel that a lot in people, but the way that horses do it is a little bit different and a little more fascinating and a little more insane and a little more beautiful and a little more all the things. Because in people, I'm tending to talk, right? In my sessions, I do a lot of talking and a lot of dropping in. And it's really beautiful. And I love how people explain the feelings that they're having. But with horses, it's a little different for me. And it was just so much fun. When I myself was working through the emotional embrace of this experience, and they were showing me how to soften in this really physical way. So it was just a lovely week. And I feel like I summed it up better than I thought I was going to when I came on here. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I sum up this whole week for me? Because it felt like so much, but it was like just consistently the same thing. Like, where's the brace? Where's the brace? Where's the brace at? How can I soften? How do we relax this brace? Not, how do I get rid of it? It was never, how do I get rid of the brace? And I think that was a really interesting point for me. And even as I'm talking about it right now, like, that is really fascinating that we didn't talk a lot about how to get rid of the brace. We just talked a lot about how to soften to the brace, because a lot of times the thing that makes us brace, we can't quite control. And so it's wasting time to worry about that. How can you soften? How can you be? And, there's a little more I want to go into about that, but I need to think on that a little more and how I want to talk about that, how to deal with the external and what that is. There was a lot of conversation nearest the end of how to handle that, because obviously the work that we do, we want to help the horses not get to that point. But I talk a lot about that in this Sharecast, I think, already. So I'm not too stressed about talking about that. But I feel like this moment, sometimes we have to, when we're in this moment, we can't worry about getting rid of the brace. We can really worry about softening to it, and then understanding and having awareness of it. And then kind of the rest does itself. The rest works itself out. And that's where I think the magic of surrendering to the universe happens. When you stop worrying about what's creating the brace, you soften to the brace, allow the brace, and realize that you will get each situation has a different set of steps to get out of that, and just allow that to work out for you. Don't feel like you have to have it figured out before you can soften. You don't have to have your life figured out. You have to soften, and then your life will get figured out. And that was really, really big. So yeah, I am alive. I am here. I had a lovely weekend. I just was very much not on my phone really at all, because I was with the horses. And then when I was done, quite frankly, I was going to bed so early the whole week and just spending time away. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. Let me know how you're feeling. What's happening? What happened in the rest of, I feel like I've come out of a cave. What has been happening in the rest of the world? What ahas have you guys had in this week? Yeah, let me know. Okay. I love you guys all so much, and I will see you very soon. Bye.